Alright, we're on the home stretch now, just to test it out and see how it goes. I'm just double checking. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna turn it on. You can see there's a slight incline within the blade. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to convert this Kemei blade into an Andis blade. I purchased this online from Amazon for roughly £24, and it came with all the typical things a normal blade will come with. What we're going to do is mix and merge parts of the Kemei blade construction with the Andis blade for it to work. In the future, I may show how to sort of super glue this part just so that it actually works normally. I'll show you in a bit just why it doesn't work. So what I'll do is I would unscrew the back and just keep them to one side. So I try to know that okay, Andis is on the left for my left, and the Kemei parts are on the right, and then we could remove that. So I'll show you why we have to use certain parts. You see this plate here, the reason this is specific to Kemei is that it fits nicely in here, especially when this is within the screw holes, and when it moves about it's able to move the actual the mechanism itself. However, if I have this here, the thing movement, the problem with this is that it's once it's screwed in, it has this huge gap. What I might do in the future is actually super glue them, like I said before, just so that you're able to sort of see, but that may be a future project. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just move everything to the side, unscrew these two screws, just slightly. Alright, you will definitely feel the tension relieving after that. And remove the back plate. We won't need the Kemei blade anymore, just leave it to the side. And dismantle the whole thing. Now this is quite tricky to take out if it's your first time, and it also may be quite difficult. So what you do is, if you see this part here, if you slightly pull across that, you may be able to get it loose like this, and you kind of sort of jerry it or wiggle it off. That's it. So I've done this a few times before already, so it may look much more easier than it actually is. Okay, and that is due to my spring. So the issue with that is the spring itself is slightly deformed, which is not going to affect performance as much. I just have to sort of counter it or get these springs changed or slightly tension it. As you can see, it's slightly pushing that way. What I may be able to... Alright, so now we have three separate parts. I'll just move that across here. We have three separate parts now. The part we don't need is going to be this actual cutting blade. For you to remove this part, what you need to do is get your screwdriver end and push it out from here. So you push out from there. Also, you don't need to be that aggressive if you don't want to. Yep, just double checking. Alright, so this is the part that we don't need. We need this part, and yeah. So if we only need these three parts from the Kemei, it means that we do not need this part from the Andis. We do not need this part, as mentioned earlier, from the Andis, and also we cannot use the springs as well as the nuts and bolts. Reason being is you could tell that the spring size is very different, especially if you're going to use the Kemei sort of hold. I'm not sure what they're called. Maybe tell me in the comments. And that's why we can't use that. Okay, and we'll just remove these two screw holes as they would not fit into the bracket that is currently there. So now we just work backwards. Now we get the Andis cutting blade. We push this in. what's nice is that with this one, it sort of marries up quite nicely. So what you do is you see the hair looks like a smiley face. You just push them in, and it sits nicely. You grab the other plate that the blade will go on to, okay, and you just put it in reverse. So this one I'll flip it over just so it's easier to see. What I'll do is have it like this. So just kind of get it in. It's a bit finicky and sort of fiddly, I would say, at first. Well, if you've done this a few times, I don't know, maybe you'll be able to do it a few times, but it's quite resilient. Okay, perfect. So now you can see that the arms are like that, okay. And then finally we get the Andis blade, and there are two holes here. There are two holes in the middle, and we fit them in. What we do now, I may be able to do is, I think it's this spring here, or just slightly, you know, sort of bend it or manipulate it. But that might be another, that might be a chance for another video. Yeah, as you can see. Yep. Okay. All right. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, goodbye. Just with the screwdriver. Probably see the gold screws screwing in. Nope. Just give me 1 second. Okay, now it's slightly in. Now this is the opportunity to just focus now. Okay, perfect. Now this is going to give me the opportunity to actually zero gap the blade. I don't want it too zero gapped as it's quite sharp. I can feel it in my hand. Just so, especially when I'm cutting myself, give myself a haircut, and you know, people haircuts, be able to cut properly. Okay, just making sure it's tight. Okay, perfect. Now, remember we didn't need the silver screws as before from the Andis, but we do need the original gold screws that we left over here. What I'll do is it's kind of awkward. There you go. Come on, mate, fit in. There we go. So you don't want it all the way in, just so you have enough tension to fit in the other part. Okay. Now the next screw. As you can see, do you see how this part, if I just slightly loosen, you'll be able to tell what exactly I was talking about earlier. So look, as I slowly let go of this, or slowly unscrew, loosen the screw, you can see that this part here slowly pushes forward, and when I start to tighten it, it will slowly push back, just so it's able to hit the wall properly. Alright, we're on the home stretch now, just to test it out and see how it goes. I'm just double checking. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna turn it on. You can see there's a slight incline within the blade, and that is due to my spring. So the issue with that is the spring itself is slightly deformed, which is not going to affect performance as much. I just have to sort of counter it or get these springs changed or slightly tensionate. As you can see, it's slightly pushing that way. What I may be able to do is, I think it's this spring here, or just slightly, sort of bend it or manipulate it. But that might be another. That might be a chance for another video. Yeah, as you can see. Yep. Okay. All right. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, goodbye.